Hey, Stephanie here. I want you to feel amazing when you take Pilates. So today we're going to combine some Pilates mat work with some yoga and some stretching for a feel-good Pilates workout. This one is safe for backs and necks. It's safe on the joints and it's really great for tight backs and hamstrings and hips. So I hope you enjoy. All right, meet me on your hands and knees in tabletop. Spread your fingers nice and wide, and let's set up those wrists directly underneath the shoulders. You can keep your body weight leaned back to your hips just so the weight of your body is not completely on your wrist here. Drop your belly and extend your heart forward. This will be your cow position. Begin at the tailbone, rounding your tail under and rounding your spine up to the ceiling. This is cat. So you can flow through at your own pace. It's an inhale to arch and an exhale to curl. Really drop your head, look through your legs. Let's go 3 more. Rounding your spine, push away from the floor. Last 2. And 1 more. Big cat position. And then come into your best tabletop position. You'll look straight down at the floor. Take your right leg. You can keep your toes on the floor, and we're just going to rock back and forth and stretch the ankle here. So coming into a spinal balance, extend your left arm forward, and optional to lift your right thigh off the floor. We want to keep the abdominals pulled in. Lengthen out from heel to fingers. Let's take 1 more breath in this position. And return back down to the floor, other side, tucking the toes. Little rock back and forth, warming up the fascia of the bottom of the foot. Add the arm and full spinal balance. Hips are square. Stay relaxed in your neck. And focus on your breathing. Let's stay for 1 more breath. Beautiful. Come back into your tabletop position and walk your hands and your knees a little bit wider. And we're just going to take the hips side to side. Right? It's not a big movement. We're just stretching out the hips a little. You may notice some tight places. So leaning your weight into the right knee and into the left. And then settle back into your center. So go ahead and take that left arm up. So we're going to take a little twist here. Reach for the sky, open your chest, and thread your hand through, coming into your thread the needle. So you may be able to rest the side of your head on the floor. If not, don't worry about it. You can always use a prop or a pillow. Round the spine just slightly and let the rotation be in the upper back rather than the lower back. Press the back of your hand into the floor to get a nice shoulder stretch. This is one of my favorites. And we'll unwind, take that arm all the way back up, counter twist. And return your hand to the floor. We're ready for the other side. Extend that right arm up. And thread the needle. Lay the back of your head on the mat. Right, be gentle with your twisting. It's early in the workout. Use your breath to deepen that rotation. Plant your left hand right by your face to push yourself back up into your twist. And return your hand to the floor. So we're going to do a quick wrist stretch. So if you will turn your hands around so that your fingers face your knees, spread your finger pads out on the floor like starfish hands. Really spread the fingers and just see if you can sit back a little. You can stretch your feet at the same time. Everyone has different flexibility, but it is good to stretch the wrists. And then flip your hands so the back of your hand is on the mat and your fingers are facing one another. Now, I'm not able to get my elbows completely straight. That's no worry. I'm going to press the backs of my fingers into the mat. Right? Shift some weight backwards. We don't want to kill the wrists. And I'm going to take my fingers and curl them up into a ball. So I'm making a fist, really squeezing hands together, and then we'll open back up. Let's do that twice more. Curl the pinky finger, ring finger, middle finger, pointer finger, even the thumb, and open. Just one more. Curling, 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 curling. And open. Let's give them a little shake. All right, again, plant your strong hands into the floor. I'm going to come into a tabletop position and tuck my toes. So we're getting ready to lift the knees. Extend your heart just slightly forward and lift your knees off the mat, but shift your weight way back into your legs. So I'm going to drop my chest down towards my thighs. My knees are very generously bent. We're more focused on the spine stretching than the feet and the hamstrings. So just begin to bend the knees and float the knees back down to the mat, and we're back in table right where we started. So open the chest, shift your weight, and get way back into those hips. If you press your hands into the floor to drive the hips up and back, you'll get a nice stretch through the spine. Let's do that one more. Slowly bend the knees. Come down to a tap. Lift the knees. Now this time, if you're able to straighten your knees out a little bit more, go for it. But we need the spine nice and long. Pedal your feet. Drop one heel and drop the other. We're just doing a little pedaling motion, stretching out the ankles. Right? Don't let the hands be lazy. That's how we get into the wrists. I want you to really push through your fingertips to drive those hips up. Last two, maybe you have some popping and cracking in your ankles like me. And then we're going to slowly walk the hands back towards the feet. Bend your knees a lot and let your torso drape over your legs. You can hold on to opposite elbows. Let the crown of your head hang down. Give your head a little shake. Release your arms, slowly roll up. So I'm pushing up through my legs, rounding the spine, coming up one vertebra at a time. We're going to do that in reverse. So drop your chin, round your shoulders, and release. Just let it hang. Nice deep knee bend. Let's roll it all the way up. And one more time, back down. Drop your chin to your chest. Let your body just hang and drape. Stay for a big inhale. Let it go with your exhale. And have a seat on your mat. Come to the front of your mat and help yourself down onto your back. So knees are bent, we're in a tabletop position. You can feel the shape of your spine on the floor. You don't have to be completely flat back here, but let's keep the navel drawn in to protect the spine. Float your right knee into tabletop here. My knee is frozen at a 90-degree shape. I'm moving at the hip. Tap your foot down to the mat and lift back up. Let's do about 6 here. And honestly, the more advanced you are, the more you realize that this is a pretty deep movement. I'm using my abdominals to keep the spine very still and moving at the hip joint. Let's go 3. All right. Start to let those abs work. Let them kick in for 2. And 1. Float your foot back down. We'll go right into the other side. You can touch your hips, make sure they're level. Let's inhale to lift and exhale to lower, tapping into that Pilates breath. Go 3. Right, it's that opposite hip that wants to pop up. Go 2. And 1. Float that leg back down. Bring your feet and knees all the way together and find your frontal hip pointers. So I've got these two bones at the front of my hips. Just touch those lightly. This is a move that helps to awaken your abdominal muscles and get a whole lot more out of your Pilates workout. Go ahead and take that right knee and we're going to open it like a clamshell. Now, you're only going to be able to go so far before the hips turn. So stop at the place you can balance a plate on your hips. And then bring that knee back in. We'll stay with the same side. We open and we close. So as you move, if you'll touch your left, around your left hip, you're going to find that it's the strength of the left side that closes the right knee. Right? So the muscles underneath your left hand activate to close the right leg. Subtle but powerful. Let's go 2 more. And 1 more, and we'll take it right into the other side. So make sure you keep that opposite knee straight up and down. It loves to drift out. That's a cheat. Inhale to open, and exhale, close. Most right-handed people are going to have a harder time on this side. We tend to be a little weaker around that right external oblique. You can feel the muscle contraction underneath that right hip. Last 2. And 1. All right. Bring your right knee into table, bring your left knee into table. My ankles are glued side by side. So the leg position stays the same. Grab the backs of your legs and bring your upper body to your lower body. This is the first time we've curled up. I want your shoulder blades lifted, but your tailbone down. Relax your shoulders away from your ears and just draw your chin slightly backwards into your neck. Look at your belly button. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, sink your navel to your spine. Let's breathe twice more. A little isometric hold for the abs. Please use your arms. That's what they're there for. 1 more. Lay your head down. Hug your knees close to your chest. And give your back a little rock side to side. Come back to tabletop. Use your arms to curl up, right? Lengthen your tailbone down. It's very easy to lift the tail. That puts a lot of stress on the low back. Okay, you can either stay here or challenge this position by reaching your arms forward. These are strong arms. Reach. It's like you're balancing an apple right on the top of your head. Let's keep that apple and bring your arms up to knee height. Maybe a little shaking going on. You're doing great. Maybe take those arms up to shoulder height. Keep your head lifted. Stay for an inhale. Stay for the exhale. Hug your knees and rest your head. Set your feet back down on the floor and walk your feet maybe a little wider than your mat. Take your palms out to the sides like a T. Both knees will windshield wiper over to the left. And take it over to the right. So as we alternate, you have one leg that moves into an internal rotation. Really reach forward through that thigh and then take it over to the other side. And one more to each side. And plant your feet right in line with your hips for our first bridging series. As we bridge, flatten your lower back and tilt your pelvis under. That's the beginning of our bridge. Peel your hips off the mat one vertebra at a time, spinal articulation. At the top, work to stay rounded, to stay scooped. It's very easy to arch here. That's a bit of a cheat. We want the glutes to wake up. Lower your spine one vertebra at a time. Sink your chest, mid-back, low back, and tail. This time we're adding the arms. So you'll curl up, and as you approach the top, reach your arms overhead. If you're on your neck, you're too high. As you come down through your spine, reach your arms away from you. And the tail is last to touch. Float your arms back to your sides, and we'll do that process again. We lift the hips, spinal articulation, reach your arms overhead. And as you lower, the hands reach away from the tail. Let's do that one more time. This should be a nice stretch through your upper back, thoracic spine. And you reach. And lower, really sink those ribs down. And arms come down last. Hug your right knee into your chest. And grab the back of your thigh. This is limbering. We just straighten and bend. And I'm pretty open in my hamstrings, but you're going to feel a nice hamstring stretch as you squeeze the front of the thigh. All right, we're using the opposing muscle group. And then straighten your leg, and we'll just flex and point the foot, really working through the toes here. Draw big circles with your ankle in one direction. And the other. Good. Now, you have an option to straighten the other leg. If that causes your back to lift off the mat, leave that out. Plant your arms by your sides, and we're very simply going to lower the straight leg, and I want you to notice where that lower back pops up. Wherever it pops up, that's your low point, and we come back up. Okay, a little work here. So you're going to drop, tightening the abs, and lift. We're going to add the foot. You'll flex your foot on the way down and point your toe on the way up. It's down with a flex and up with a point, like paintbrush strokes. Reach through your heel and lift. Last 3 and 2. Let those abs do some work here. Who said we have to do sit-ups the whole time? And one more. Bend your knee, place the foot on the floor, hug your other knee into your chest. Right? As I'm here, I can hug my knee into my chest, but make sure that the tailbone is all the way down. Hold on to the back of your thigh for limbering. Right? Squeeze the front of your thigh to straighten. Go 3, 2, straighten and hold. Let's add the ankle, big flex, big point. And circle that ankle around. Try not to avoid the uncomfortable parts. And reverse. My ankle is popping and cracking. All right, either keep the opposite knee bent or slide it straight. Either way, press that low back down just a little bit tighter. And here we go. We go down with a flex and up with a point. Down flex and up point. Press the back of your right thigh into the mat. Last 3. And 2. And 1. Hug your knee. Place your foot on the mat, and we're coming back into a second round of bridging. This time our feet are a little bit closer, so we're gonna work the glutes a little bit more. Stay for an inhale. Use your exhale to roll your hips up. If you're clenching your toes, please spread your feet out on the mat. Now sink your heart down a little. I don't want you too high for this one. Hug your navel in. We need good support here. Float your right knee into table. Extend it up. We've been here before. We go down with a flex and up with a point. Down flex, up point. Here's 4. You got it. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Leg comes down, re-scoop the glutes, re-scoop the pelvis, other knee, left knee into table. Here we go, down with a flex, up with a point. Right? That straight leg does not have to come all the way to the mat. I'm just coming to about knee level. 3 more, sneaky, sneaky. This is a tough one. Go 2. And 1, lower your body with control and hug your knees into your chest. That was fantastic. All right. Place your tiptoes on the mat. So my heels are lifted and my toes are lightly resting on the mat. And I'm gonna hold on to the back of my head here very lightly. So draw your chin down to lengthen the back of your neck and curl up with the strength of your stomach here. So can you allow your head to fall heavy into your hands and still stay lifted to the tips of the shoulders? That would be the correct position for your neck. Okay, lower your head down. Let's try that one more time. It's a little curl. Remember the pelvis, the tail is heavy. And lower. Okay, we're gonna add on, I call this slow obliques. I'll give you one guess why. So float your right knee into table and curl your left shoulder across. Okay, I'm still twisting with my abs, not my arms. Lower it all the way back down to your tiptoes, and we'll take the other knee into table and curl the right shoulder across. And we'll alternate sides. Think opposite rib cage to opposite hip. Think lift both shoulders, not just the one. Exhale, lift. And inhale, lower. A few great repetitions are worth 100 messy ones. We're recruiting lots of muscle with our twists. Let's go 4 more. What do you think? Last 3. No hurry. What's the hurry? Go 2. And 1. Beautiful job. Stretch your arms and legs in opposite directions. Allow that lower back to lift. And just take a deep breath here, stretching it out. Hug those knees into your chest and rock yourself up to sitting. Turn and face the front and open your legs into a wide-ish split. You can relax on your arms and just flop the legs in and out, allowing some rotation in the hip socket. All right. Now, if you can, get a little more upright onto your sit bones. I understand tight hips, you may need to lean back a little, and that's okay. Flex your feet so your toes are pointing towards the sky, and press the backs of your knees to the floor. So a healthy hamstring, your heels will lift the floor, just so you know. If you're able to take your hands in front of you, we can add on. Keep the heels reaching out, drop your chin, and slide your hands forward. Right? The legs are very active here. We're not letting the knees roll in. And roll yourself back up. One more time. Drop your chin, stretch forward. And roll up. Rotate your chest towards your right knee. And same thing, the chest is just turning to a different place. Can you keep that opposite hip, that left hip, really anchored into the mat? And roll it up. Give me one more. We're rounding down through the spine and reaching through the arms. I know your legs are still working. Hang on to that. Twist your chest to the left, drop your chin, round it down. Opposite hip bone connects with the mat. Roll it up. And one more. And come on up. So bring your legs a lot closer. Now, I want you completely upright on your sit bones. So if that means you have to bend your knees, no problem, you do it. If you can stay very upright and straighten your legs, that's perfect too. Separate your feet about 2 feet apart. Extend your arms forward and flex your toes towards the sky. It doesn't look like I'm doing much, but I'm lifting up through my chest, finding space in the spine. Drop your chin and begin to round forward. You're reaching past your toes. Scoop your stomach backwards like you're lifting your ribs away from your pelvis. Roll yourself back up like you're stacking against a wall. Let's do that twice more, chin to chest. It's very much an up and over feeling. Maybe you recruit the stomach more to reach even further. And stack it up. And one more. Drop your chin. Up and over. And sit up tall. Give those legs a little shake. And right back into that same position. Flex your feet. Reach forward through your heels. Reach your arms out with the palms facing forward. Now, if I were to look at you from the side, hands are a little bit in front of your shoulders, not behind. Plug your shoulder blades in down your back, and that's where they stay. Scoop the stomach in and rotate only as far as you can through your rib cage. I'm not letting the arms move on their own. Twist it back to center. Rotate to your left. And bring it back to center. This time when we twist, keep your feet completely level. Don't let one slide forward. Alternating sides. We're heavy through the sit bones. This is an active twist. Take one more to each side. It's an up and around. And give that a little shake. All right, we're gonna move into the full exercise saw. Extend your arms out, plug your shoulders in. We rotate first and reach across over past the pinky toe. Scoop the abs in as you reach. Bring it back to center. Rotate first and dive it out past the pinky toe. Let's pick up the pace. It's an inhale to twist and an exhale to reach. Inhale, twist, and exhale, reach. You can look past your backhand. Most important thing is that the sit bones stay grounded. You're level in both hips. Let's go 4. And 3. And 2. And 1. And give it a shake. Lay down on your belly. So take your hands right underneath your shoulders, and we're going to have them underneath the shoulders so that our elbow tips can point upward. Plant your feet onto the mat. There they stay. Tap your forehead to the mat, and we're going to drive the elbows backwards, feeling the shoulders come away from the ears, and then create a little lift. I'm just barely peeling my heart and head off the floor. This is upper back. If you're in your lower back, it's too much. From there, lower back down. And we'll do 3 more. Inhale to lift. And exhale to lower. Our shoulders love to roll forward. We're finding that opposite action of peeling them back. And let's go 1 more. Reach those elbows back. Lift the heart. And lower it back down. Tap your forehead to the mat. Take your arms forward. So my thumbs are up and my arms are about mat distance apart. My legs are a little wider than hip distance. So I'm making a narrow X with my body. Scoop your belly away from the floor. That action needs to stay. Lift your right arm and your left leg. Feel for those frontal hip pointers to stay even on the mat. No rotation. We're just holding. And lower it down. Other side, left arm, right thigh. And alternate again. So you're lifting like someone standing on the back of your thigh. And lower. Other side. And lower. And again, if you're in your lower back and it doesn't feel good, you're lifting too high, I promise. I may be in a back bend, but I still have my Pilates navel to spine. And let's go 1 more. Opposite arm, opposite leg. And float it all the way back down. Stack your hands and just rest your forehead lightly on your hands. So you're resting your head. Give those hips a little shake. Bend your right knee and reach for your ankle or foot with the right hand. Okay, now if you can't get that, you may want to take a towel and hold on to the ends of the towel. But see what you can do here. Pull your heel towards your glute. Now bring your knees together and firmly press your pubic bone downward into the mat. So this should be a deep quad stretch for you. Reach your right knee away from your ears. Good, knees together, can you get it? And slowly release. And let's go other side. Hold on to that left ankle. Flex your foot if you can. Let's go knees together and work the stretch. Press your left knee into the mat, tilting your pelvis under. Reach that left knee down and away from your hip. Stay for an inhale and stay for an exhale. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Now tuck your toes under. Lift your behind just a little. And use your strength to press back onto your feet for a child's pose. I have wide knees, feet together. Rest your forehead on the mat and stretch it out. Bring yourself up to kneeling. If you need to put extra padding underneath a knee, that would be a really good time to do this. So take that right leg and extend it out. My toes are pointing forward, hopefully, and the bottom of my foot is flat against the mat. Take your left arm, reach it up, and we'll come over into a little side stretch. Just slide your hand down your leg. Focus here on the lift. Get your entire torso to lift. Bring your fingertips or the palm of your hand all the way back down to the mat. Reach the right arm up, and we're going to float the leg off the mat. Knee is still facing forward. Take that leg and just tap and lift. Tap and lift. Keep hugging those abdominals in. It doesn't have to be a big move. Let's go 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, hold it up at the top. Now little pulse, go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take that foot to the mat, reach over and come into a bigger side stretch right here. Both knees to the mat, come on up, and other side, extend that left leg, or your opposite side. Take the right arm up, we go up and over. Okay, no rotation in the spine. It's much more important to lift than to go down. Open up your ribs. All right, float that hand to the mat, either fingertips or palm. Either way, there's not a ton of work in that hand. Extend your arm up, scoop the abs in, and we tap and lift. And lift. Good. Keep that knee facing forward. That's going to keep you in your outer hip, right? We want you in the outer hip, not your hip flexor. Last 3, 2, here's our hold, hold it up, and little pulse for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Float that foot back down, reach your arm overhead, and go for the stretch. come down to a seated position and find all of the 90-degree angles that your knees can find. So square your hips forward. This is very different from a Z-sit. This would be like Pilates reformer. Here, I want the knee in line with the hip and a 90-degree angle at the front knee. So my shin is parallel to the mat. The back thigh is also parallel to the mat with a 90-degree bend at the knee. So take your hands on either side of your leg and walk your hands forward, finding a hip stretch in that right hip. Okay, you may be able to walk your arms all the way down. I'm not that open. Keep your foot flexed, and you can actively press your knee towards the floor. Bring yourself back up, and this is a stretch for the back leg. So lift the flesh of your knee, slide the leg out a little further, and tilt your pelvis under just slightly. Now take a moment to relax the muscles of the hips and allow the stretch to be in the groin of the left side. Okay, if you feel the top of your hip, maybe lean forward or lean back. We want to feel this in the groin. Take one more breath. And release, and take it over to the other side. Find all of your 90-degree angles. I'll give you a moment to set it up. Common mistake is that we allow this knee to go way out to the side, but I want it right in front of your hip with your hips squared off. So in a perfect world, we'd be open enough to where both sit bones would be on the mat. I'm not there yet. Flex your feet. Lean yourself forward, chest over the knee. Right? If you need more intensity, take your chest a little more over the front knee. Walk your hands down. You should feel a glute stretch on the front. Good, just breathe. Give that hip some time. It deserves it. And then bring it back up. And I'm just going to gently lift my knee and slide the leg out just a little further. Okay, this one takes some practice. This is a stretch for a muscle called Obturator Internus. It goes in the front of the hip and is continuous with the pelvic floor. This is a little secret for the back pain. If you're very locked on one side, I bet you have hip and back pain. Give it some time. Allow that back sit bone to melt into the mat. And take the bottoms of your feet together. I'm going to turn to the side so that you can see. So the bottoms of my feet are together, and I'm making a long diamond shape. Right? So notice if you have one knee that's a lot higher, that's your tight hip. Sit nice and tall, and you can round yourself forward, grabbing onto your pinky toes and dropping your head. Reach your arms forward on the mat and take both arms over to one side. So if I'm taking my arms to the right side, I'm going to drop back through the left hip. Continue to work your knees open. And slowly walk those hands over to the other side. Drop that right hip. Take it back to the center and roll it all the way up. Come into your most comfortable seated position. This is where a block or a prop would be wonderful. So I have one of these little mats, and I'm just going to elevate my hips so then I don't have to think too much about sitting upright here. Roll your shoulders up, down, and back. And reverse that direction. Really exaggerate this movement. Lubricating those scapula, those shoulders. And then take your fingers and just put your fingers right on tops of your shoulders and circle the elbows around. All right, we're going to take up as much space as we can. So can you reach the elbows forward and together before circling around? Good. Reverse that direction. Big circles. If you can get the tips of your elbows to touch, great. And let's go one more. Good. Now bring your forearms together, your palms together, forearms together, and lift your elbows up. Right? So I'm going to squeeze my forearms together. Give it a good squeeze. Drop your shoulder blades, lift your elbows, and squeeze the forearms together. That should take a little work. And then we'll simply open into a big goalpost. Let it go. And do it again. Press the forearms. If it feels good to round your upper back slightly, go for it. And open into a big goalpost. And one more. Press those forearms. Squeeze, squeeze. And open it up. And bring your hands down to your knees. Have a nice tall sit. Ears are over shoulders or over pelvis. Drop one hand to the floor. So I'm going to drop my left hand to the floor, and I'm going to rotate my fingers backwards. So I find some external rotation in the shoulder. That may already feel a little nervy for you. So draw that shoulder down and back. Tuck the chin, and we're going to let the head fall away from the working arm. Right, so you've got just as much reach with the arm as you do with the ear. Stay relaxed. There's no forcing. Now, as we rotate the shoulder back, draw that chin in just a little bit, like a double chin. Right, you may feel this in front of your shoulder all the way down to your thumb. Last little piece to this, turn the chin slightly towards the working arm and slightly down. Right, keep breathing, look for your tight areas. Imagine you're going to lift the back of your skull upward towards the ceiling. Stay for an inhale. Stay for an exhale. And give that side a little shake. That can be really intense. All right, same thing, other side. Fingertips are on the floor. I'm going to rotate my hand backwards. My shoulder goes backwards with it. Reach for the floor. Drop your head slightly away from the arm. There's no force. I'm just letting it fall. And I continue to roll that shoulder down and back. Try not to let yourself lean. Stay really centered on your gravity line and just draw the ear down towards the shoulder. Now pull your chin in. From here, rotate the skull just a little towards the working arm, like my chin is going to go towards the working shoulder. Right? We lift the back of the skull upwards and rotate the shoulder backwards. Right? Be careful of how much force you're putting in your neck. We want to have a lot of lift, not a ton of side bend. Right? That chin stays very much in. The more you practice this one, the more you will get out of it, I promise. Stay for an inhale. And stay for an exhale. And give that shoulder a shake. We'll close out our practice with 3 deep breaths. Extend those arms up. Big inhale. And exhale, press the walls out. Let's take a deeper breath in. Fill your lungs. And full. Exhale, last one, inhale to the top. This time the palms come together and we exhale down through heart center. Thank you so much for joining me today. I so enjoyed working out with you. See you again soon.